Hi, my name is Daniel Hocutt, and I am the technical editor for SIGDOC Proceedings. Congratulations on your acceptance into the SIGDOC conference, and thanks for your interest in publishing in our proceedings. If you're watching this video, my guess is that your paper has been accepted for inclusion in the proceedings, and I congratulate you on that accomplishment as well. The goal of this tutorial is to provide instructions on writing your paper using the Microsoft Word submission templates for ACM Papers. This is a single-column Word document that provides the styles that you'll need to use in preparing your paper for the proceedings. More than likely, you've used a word processing application of your choice to submit your initial draft for review, and you're now preparing your revised paper for final submission. It's possible that you used the submission template for ACM Papers for your initial draft, but that certainly was not a requirement. What I'm going to try to do is provide step-by-step guidance for applying ACM styles to your paper for submission. I'm going to assume that you'll be pasting your revised draft copy, that is, after you received feedback on your initial draft of the paper, into the ACM Word template, and that you'll be applying styles as you go. So I want to get started on what you'll need to do. The first thing you'll need to do is you'll need to download and save a local copy of the submission template for ACM Papers. Visit the conference proceedings page, and that's here under SIGDOC Publications, ACM Digital Library, SIGDOC Proceedings. You're going to click on that under the Publications menu in the SIGDOC webpage to download the file. So I'm going to scroll down this page. If you've not visited this page, you definitely should, because it provides a lot of information. Most of the information you need and that I'm going to talk about is included on this page. Again, to get here, go to sigdoc.acm.org and then click on Publications and the ACM Digital Library SIGDOC Proceedings. I think. Maybe that goes to the, yes, that's where you want to go. What I'm interested in is the workflow. So I'm going to start there, because that's where you'll have a link to get the submission template for ACM Papers. If you can see it, and you probably can't, it's very small text down at the bottom of that page. You'll see that the link there is a .docx file. You're going to download that file. I've already done that. I've given it a new name, so that's the next step. Open the template and give it a new name. So I've done that here. I've called mine Interrogating Alexa ACM. And if you take a look at this screen, my screen over on the right, you'll see that my paper draft is called Interrogating Alexa. So what you've got here on the right side, I have the paper that I submitted and received feedback on as my initial draft of the paper. I'm now going to take that copy and bring it in to the ACM style template. So the submission template for ACM Papers is on the right. Interrogating Alexa, my initial draft that's been reviewed and that I've revised, is ready for me to bring into ACM template. Once you've opened the template and given it a new name, you need to read the template. I'm not kidding about that. You need to read from beginning to end, because this isn't simply a template with a lot of placeholder text. The text of this document is actually a description of the template and all of its styles. It basically tells you how to do much of what I'm going to talk about here in this tutorial. If you scroll down, you'll see that it is formatted. That format is showing Word document. I'm going to actually change my view here. I'm in draft view. I'm going to show you how to get to that, but I'm going to go to print view just so that you can see it a little more clearly. I'll look at it a little bit. So this is actually the way it will look. It's one column. You'll see that it's one column, and it gives a lot of information about this template and about how to use it. Please read through the entire document. Not kidding. I know it sounds crazy. Read through the entire document. Be sure that you understand it. And if you have questions, let me know. Or my recommendation is try it first, see what happens. And then if you still don't understand, give me drop a line, let me know. I'll let you know what my email address is at the end of this. You'll see there's a lot of information. It's basically showing you exactly how to tag specific kinds of content to be sure that they appear correctly in the ACM digital library. Here's our references here at the end, some appendices if you have appendices. And finally, you do get placeholder text. So there is a little bit of placeholder text. I'm assuming at this point you have downloaded that template, you have read through the template. So now we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of this work. I'm going to shift to my other screen. Once you've read through this document, you will see that ACM style is pretty prescriptive. I am going to go back up here, bring this back. There's not much room for messing with those styles, and that's intentional. The style in this document prepares your document for submission in 3 different formats, and they are all accessible. A printed PDF, online and e-reader versions, and the HTML5 version for the web. Accessibility is at the heart of the template style guidelines, and that's why we adhere to the styles and why the styles offer very little room for adjustment or revision. Before we continue, I do want to share that the single column format of the template, now you see it, it's a single column. That's not how it will end up in the final PDF. The single column format of the template will be converted through the publishing process into the 2-column format of the published PDF. As a result, you're not going to see the print-ready version of this document until it's been processed through the ACM publishing system, which is known as TAPS. This also means that it's a little difficult to know how many pages your final version will comprise. TAPS does provide a tool for estimating final counts. You can find this conversion table under brief guidelines for using the ACM submission template section in the SIG.conference conference proceedings page. You'll see that table there. So from this point forward, I'm going to demonstrate how to apply styles in the Word template using the draft view. As I said, I'm using a Google Doc as my source file, pasting text into the Word template and styling it correctly. I won't model every scenario. I'm just going to go through a few concepts and a few examples, but I will demonstrate some of the most common styling and content issues. So here we go. First thing, show the styles. Now, if you're looking at it right now on screen, it looks like the styles are there. There's the styles pane. I do want to differentiate. We're looking at the styles pane. That's important. But what we need to do is shift the view to draft. How do we do that? Well, it's very small, and you'll see this down at the bottom of the page, but at the bottom of the document, and I am, as you can see, I am using a Mac, but on a PC, it's not going to be significantly different. There is an option, and it is titled Draft. I could also go into View and click on Draft. Either one of those is an option. Significant changes occur. Now we see that this is not showing up necessarily as print ready. It does show our page breaks, but for example, it doesn't show any of the figures that were listed before. It just shows blank spaces where those figures were earlier on. But most importantly, on the left side, it shows styles, and it shows the styles having been applied to each of these sections. You have to be in draft view, in order to style your paper correctly. Now, it's possible that when you get into draft view, you'll see that there isn't actually any room on the left side. It's kind of blank. I'll show you how to fix that. I'm showing this on a Mac. If you search Google, you will find ways to do this on a Windows machine. But here in Mac world, click on Word and go to Settings. I'm assuming it would be very similar on a Word a Windows document. I'm going to click on Settings, and I'm going to go to View. So wherever you get to Settings, you want to click on the View settings. And right here, down here, there is something called Show Window Elements. This Show Window Elements area is where you're going to be sure that the style area width, that's what we're looking at on the left, the style area. The style area width is at least 1 inch. I've set mine to 1.5 inches to make it a little bit easier to see. But I'm going to change it to 2 or 1.7, 1.8. I'll go ahead and change it, and you'll see when I click the red button here, my left style, the left the style area, that style area is going to change width. And you see it got a little bit wider. So now what I've done is I've made visible my styles pane here on the right. I've clicked on styles in use because those are the styles that the ACM template is using. And you can see they're all here. Want to know what they do? You can start by looking here, the style tag and the definition. Each of the styles listed over here on the right has a clear and specific definition. That's how you make sure that you can see the styles and what's been applied to each of the areas. So I'm going to shift over to actually starting to paste my text. So here at the top, I have the title of the document. Well, the title of my document is this. I'm going to copy interrogating Alexa. This is the actual title. I'm using paste. You'll see that when I paste it, I'm using paste as plain text. I'm using a keyboard shortcut to do that. You'll see that it added a couple of lines of title document. You don't want any blank lines in this document at all. So I'm going to delete both of those, but you can see that it applied title document. Now you'll also see that I brought introduction in, and I didn't mean to do that. So I'm going to delete that. There you go. What's my short title? I'm going to use, in this case, interrogating Alexa as my short title. And it is now title styled short title. And I can see that because I click on short title and that's what it highlights. Subtitle. Right. You know what? Maybe the title of my document is actually interrogating Alexa, and my subtitle is holding voice assistance. Well, I need to take a look at that. So it changed it from authors. So I'm going to undo some things. So I want to make sure. Here we go. So now I've got subtitle in there, right? Subtitle, short title, title. Interrogating Alexa, same interrogating Alexa, my subtitle, holding voice assistants accountable for their answers. Authors. Daniel L. Hoka. You'll see that asterisk there. That relates to something that we won't actually be using, but I'm going to go back to to print view to see what that points to. Place the footnote text for the author if applicable here. There's very seldom a reason for the footnote to the author to be included here. We don't have to include contact information as a footnote. So I'm actually going to delete this footnote. That way I don't have it. It'll be gone. Let's see. All right, I'll go to footnote. Yeah, okay. I'm going to delete it. There, I deleted the footnote. Now I'll go back to my draft view. My affiliation, University of Richmond. And I could put University of Richmond School of Professional and Continuing Studies, and then I'll use my dhookutt@gmail.com email address. In this case, I don't have a second or third author, so I can delete those. But do notice affiliation is there. Now my abstract, bring my abstract over. And again, I'm going to paste. This time I will show a, let's see, paste special, and I will paste as unformatted text. And you can see abstract done. So it's doing some funny, weird stuff with spaces, but it's happening. I'll add my keywords, reference format. This entire section will be taken care of. You can leave it just as it is. You can delete it. It doesn't matter. It's going to get inserted during the TAPS publication process. Okay. So I'm not going to go too much further in pasting text other than to say, oh, I've changed my language. There we go. Other than to say that here's my introduction. And you'll see now there is a post head paragraph. So use the post head paragraph for the first paragraph after a heading of any kind. So in this case, it's a heading 1, post heading paragraph after that, just regular paragraphs. But you'll notice that I have this, which is not a paragraph. It's not a standard paragraph. It should be a pulled quote or something along those lines. So I'm actually going to look. I have to look and look and look and see what kind of options do I have. I'll go look here. Do I have pulled text? Do I have, I'm looking, post head paragraph, paragraph continue, short title, list title, statements, no, block quotation. Look at that. I need to tag that as an extract. I would not have known that. It's a good thing I looked there. I click on extract. So now I have tagged this as an extract. Because I'm not starting a new paragraph after that, this paragraph is continuing. I'm going to therefore paste this in, and I'm going to style it not as para, but as para continue. That is a paragraph that continues after a break that isn't a paragraph. Shouldn't start a new paragraph. So I've got post paragraph head, an extract, and then a paragraph continue. And I went ahead and got rid of the indentation that was there in originally. Next is para. This would continue on following the instructions that are available throughout this document. List paragraphs, a note about these. List paragraphs, you can, so here I'm using list paragraph. These can be numerical or bulleted. Either one, just be sure that list paragraph is showing as the style on the left margin. Be sure to include alt tags for all figures. You'll see that here on the right, that's been included. Even though I know that I don't see that figure, I know there's one there. Be sure to label your figures. And again, you'll see you label images, tag them in a particular way, tag figure captions in a particular way. I'm going to go down to bibliography because my references, I want to be sure that every reference has the bib entry noted. Bib entry is the style that should be applied to each individual item in your references list. What it will do is number it, which brings me to this point. Be sure that you're using numbered references. So what does that mean? Your references should be numbered in the order they appear. Your references should be listed here under references in the order that they appear in your paper. So number 1 should be the first reference that I see. When I go up to number 1, you'll see it's here, but my guess is it's probably been referenced elsewhere. They're using, I guess they may be using an author first name. No, they're not. They're all over the place. We use numerical listing. Whatever order you cite them in is the order they should appear in the references. That becomes easier to handle and manage. So what does an in-text reference look like? It should use the number in square brackets. It should not include the author's last name or the year of publication, no years of publication at all. If you do need to use the author's last name or the author's name, be sure that it's included within the sentence, not as part of the in-text citation. Your in-text citation should quite literally be looking like this. In this case, I'm highlighting 5,15. That means that it's citing this source 5 and this source 15. Just keep that in mind, and you'll be able to do all of your citations. It's a much easier way in some ways to do citations because you're not having to deal with authors' last names and years. You're not having to deal with page numbers necessarily, although if it is a direct quote, you can put a page number, but don't include the page number in the brackets. I can handle that on a case-by-case basis if needed, because there are some cases where I've seen the need to use page numbers, and a direct quote is an example. Should you use a direct quote, you can work with me and we'll be sure we get it right. give it a shot, see what it looks like. But when there's a process we'll go through at the end that will be sure that we get it right. Continue doing this. Do this until every single line in your paper, the entire paper, everything in your paper has a tag on it, and every tag is one of the ACM tags. You should not see a normal tag anywhere in this document. Additionally, you shouldn't see any extra line breaks. That is, you shouldn't see additional hard returns. Every line should have copy in it. Every line that's tagged should be tagged, and every line that's tagged should have copy in it. Oh, take a look at this. Here's an example. This is here for placeholding purposes, but in this case, I would delete that because that should not be there. I'm going to put it back in, though, because it is there for a reason, and that is just spacing. Actually, I would delete it. That makes it easier. Finally, there's one other thing. So you're going to style your whole paper. There are going to be questions. This document will answer almost all of the questions that are going to get raised. The last thing you need to do is to add the CCS description. So these concepts come from the ACM Digital Library. They're very structured, but they're very helpful in organizing our content here in SIGDoc with the massive amount of content that's available in the ACM library. So here's how to do it. Figure out which of the CCS concepts fit your paper. To do that, you go to the CCS template or CCS tool classification system, this computing classification system tool, which is here. There's a link in the paper and I'm looking at it. The link, it's dl.acm.org/CCS. If you're a web person, you're always going to confuse this with CSS. Please don't. It is CCS. What you want to do is you want to classify as far as the classification system will go in terms of the list of concepts that are available to it. You want to fully classify your paper. Generally, you want to include one major classification, and then within that, there will be other minor segments. So I'm going to tell you that most everything we do in SIGDoc is going to be related to human-centered computing. When I mouse over this, what I see is what's under human-centered computing. And it looks like the things that we might be doing. In this case, I'm doing Alexa. So it is human-centered, and it's a human-computer interaction. So I'm going to click on human-centered computing. And now I've gone into that concept, and I see the sub-concept. So under that, I see human-computer interaction. Yeah. That's good. That's what I'm talking about. And within that is HCI design and evaluation. And that is what I'm doing. I'm looking at a particular design and evaluation method. So I'm going to click on that. Now I've got, my HCI design and evaluation. I'm doing a sort of walkthrough evaluation. So I'm going to say that this is a walkthrough evaluation. So you can see here I have other options, right? There's other things here. Interaction devices. Well, I could choose that too, couldn't I? So let me do this first because I am doing a walkthrough evaluation. So I'm going to click here. I'm going to do a walkthrough evaluation. I have fully classified this concept now, right? I can't go any further. That's what we mean by fully classified. I'm going to assign this CSS concept. I'm going to click add. And now over on the right, you see that it's added this. You can also adjust the relevance. So if you think this is less relevant than something else, you can make that adjustment. But I did notice that there was something else there that looked pretty good. I'm going to go back to, let's see, I've got this. Let me look at, let me go back to one step. I did assign this. So now I'm going to go back and I'm going to start. So human-centered HCI design. Sound-based input and output. Maybe that or interaction techniques. Now I'm going to do sound-based input and output. And I'm going to assign this as well, but I'm going to assign this as a low relevance. So now I've assigned both of these concepts, okay? Fully classified. I'm ready to put this into the paper. I'm going to generate this code. So I'm going to click here, generate code. And it's going to show me two things. It's going to show me a lot of text in here. It's going to give me an option to show XML only. And it's going to give me an option to view CCS display. What I'm going to start with is view CCS display. This gives me exactly. I'm going to copy it. Actually, I'm going to copy it from here just in case. This gives me exactly what I need to put here under CCS Concepts. It's pretty funky. So I'm going to be sure that I'm inserting it as unformatted text. And there I have it. Exactly that way. And then I want to go back to the TX code, show the XML only. I'm going to copy this now. And under my Word file properties, under summary, there's a comments area, and I need to add this here. I'm going to paste it in, and it is now there. So let me double check and be sure that it has copied it correctly. Yep, so there it is. Okay. I am now saving this, and this document is ready to submit. Well, it's not yet, but once fully styled, you're ready to submit that document in EasyChair. If you have questions about this process, let me know, but ultimately what we want to get is a paper that is fully tagged, fully styled in ACM, using the ACM template. That's what I will receive once you submit it into EasyChair. You'll put it into EasyChair. That's where it'll go first. And then once the deadline has passed, the editors, the program, conference folks will, Kristen and Joseph, will send these documents to me, and I'll start getting them styled and entered into the TAPS system. You won't have to do anything unless I contact you directly until the time comes for you to see, view, and do something with your your final version, which will be PDF. You'll see the PDF version. You'll be able to see the PDF version. You'll be able to see the web version, and you'll be able to see the e-reader version. Until that time, the paper's out of your hands. Thanks a lot. Listen, this was a very long tutorial. I understand that. Please, I wasn't sure how long it would take, but I wanted to go ahead and get it done. Thank you. If you have questions, feel free to contact me. And if we need to set up some Zoom office hours, we'll be able to do that in the next weeks. Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye-bye.